Hi, today we are going to do our presentation to help give a better understanding of mental health in youth athletes. We are part of the S.O.S. Teen Helpline Program where we raise awareness for the mental health of youths. Next slide. These are the topics the presentation will be going over. First, we will start with the introduction, then we will transition onto prominent mental health issues. Afterwards, we will discuss factors which influence mental health, and we will finish with our references. Next slide. Hi, my name is James, and I am in charge of the introduction, where I will give you a definition of mental health and do a brief overview of the other topics. Next slide. Mental health is difficult to define due to the different aspects it encompasses, but can be summarized as a state of psychological well being that enables us to cope with daily stressors. Next slide. Social health can be defined as our connections with others and sense of community. Youth athletes tend to struggle less with this aspect due to their relations with their team and peers. Emotional health can be defined as their thoughts and feelings, and youth athletes tend to struggle more with this due to the pressure they may feel to succeed in their sport. Psychological health can be defined as our overall quality of life and is heavily dependent on our social and emotional health. Next slide. According to Statista.com, there are 15.4 million high school students nationally, and around 39% are or were involved in a sport the past year. And among the 39%, more than half suffer from athletics related disorders such as depression and anxiety. Next slide. There are many risk factors which can influence the mental stability of a student athlete, but race and socioeconomic status seem to have the most prevalence among the population. Race is a major factor as youth athletes might feel pressure to live up to pre-existing stigmas involving their sport, or they may believe their performance is a reflection of their entire ethnic group. Socioeconomic status is a major factor among elite athletes as they tend to receive less mental health support from reliable sources due to their age and tend to struggle knowing they must not only invest vast amounts of money, but also time into their sport and education. Next, my peer Adam will explain the second topic on common mental health issues in youth athletes.
Hello, I'm Adam, and I'll be going over common mental health issues. So a common mental health issue in student athletes is depression, as athletes have a unique risk factor for depression compared to non-athletes. Early recognition and appropriate management of depression in athletes can lead to improved clinical and performance outcomes. So how common are mental health issues for student athletes? Well, in an examination with approximately 500,000 collegiate student athletes, ranging from 18 to 25 years old. In the NCAA, the prevalence was highest for depression at 17%. And according to the NCAA, nearly 30% of the student athletes struggle with mental health. However, mental health challenges can often begin before an athlete goes into college. More common causes that lead to depression in these athletes can be injuries, balance in academic, and the sport, and biological factors. As the body is everything for an athlete, an injury will not only set them back from their goals in the sport, but it can also make the athlete feel significant loss and develop depression. On top of having to focus on a sport, and without factoring in outside activities, students are still students. Having to balance academics and a sport is very challenging, both mentally and physically. While these student athletes have a lot to deal with, some people are just more vulnerable to developing depression caused by their genes, hormones, and brain chemicals. All of these causes can lead to symptoms such as decrease in performance, psychosomatic symptoms, which are just symptoms caused by mental factors, such as headaches, stomach aches, or unexplained physical pain. Other symptoms that could show up are social isolation and difficulty in adjusting to transitions. These athletes may feel like they are not being supported as much once they are out of school and could lead to social isolations. While depression might seem like the worst mental health issue found in athletes, depression can lead to other mental health issues such as stress and anxiety and eating disorders. Next. Speaking of stress and anxiety, in a 2023 health psychology research, a survey of 200 high school student athletes of the age 16 and 17 to figure out the correlation between stress and sports amongst a variety of sports, different location, and ethnicity. The study showed that about 91% of athletes experience some level of stress from a sport. At the same time, a third of them are positively affected by the stress. And with limited research done throughout high school athletes, it was found that an anxiety disorder is very common to the point where almost 1 in 3 or 31.9% of adolescents in the United States meet the criteria for the anxiety disorder. Out of those people, half begin to show signs at the age of 6. Anxiety disorder will affect the way someone goes about their day, and for an student athlete, it would affect their academic life and their athletic performance. Given this high frequency of these issues, it is important to understand the common causes that youth athlete faces. The most commonly reported causes are fear of failure, the pressure to do well in both inside and outside the classroom, and issues in physical health were the most common causes of stress and anxiety. These causes can lead to fatigue, sweating, sleep difficulty, loneliness, and restlessness, which are just some of the many symptoms shown from stress and anxiety. These symptoms can also be shown from other reasons outside of stress and anxiety, which makes it harder for people around a student athlete to realize what they're going through, which is more the reason for family and teachers to be aware of the warning signs so that the student can receive the support they need. Next. So another relationship to depression is eating disorder. 42% of high school athletes struggle with some sort of eating disorder. Eating disorders impact 62% of female athletes and 33% of male athletes. Some causes of eating disorders are unrealistic standards and external stressors and body image issues. As young athletes especially are more worried about how they look, the mental stress can make them eat in unhealthy ways. While eating disorders might be shown throughout all sports, eating disorders might occur differently for different sports. Sports that have a standard for more slim or athletic body can impact the athlete to decrease their weight. Changing the way an athlete eats can and will change the way an athlete matures, especially as high school students are still growing. On top of changing the way an athlete matures, it is very important as it can lead to further issues later on throughout their career. Some symptoms that are shown from eating disorders can be decaying teeth from nutrient deficiency and stomach acid exposure, and avoiding or restricting food intake. Some eating disorders will lead to the athlete to overeat in an unhealthy manner or completely not eat, leading to deficiency in nutrients. These are the internal causes and symptoms affecting youth athletes, but next, my peer Lily will be presenting more on external factors affecting youth athletes.
Hi, my name is Lily, and I'm going to talk about the factors affecting youth athletes. Firstly, I'm going to talk about the most common injuries in sports. Secondly, psychological impacts of injuries. Thirdly, how to seek support and maintain a positive mindset. Next slide, please. A report from Stanford University Health shows that of the 30 million kids participating in sports, 3.5 million of them get injuries annually. Among this, the most common injuries are strains and sprains with 36.8% and concussion with 21.6%. And the other common injuries are fractures, tennis elbow, back injuries, and other bodily injuries. Next slide. Now I'm going to talk about the psychological impacts of the sports injuries on youth athletes. Research articles have found that when athletes get injured, they not only deal with physical pain but also grapple with emotional challenges. One significant problem is the fear of getting hurt again. This fear can make them hesitant to return to sports and doubt their abilities. It can reduce their confidence and make them feel unsure about their skills. Injuries can also affect their mood, making them feel frustrated, sad, or even angry. They may feel like they've lost something important and struggle with negative emotions. Recovering from injuries can be hard on their mental health too. It can lead to feelings of worthlessness and failure, especially if they can participate in sports like before. Next slide. Here are some techniques for managing stress and maintaining positive mindset. Stay positive. A study from 1999, the researchers Leva and Orlik found that staying positive during injuries led to quicker healing times. Positive thinking allows to have a more optimistic outlook on a successful situation, meaning it allows to feel less stress and help lower inflammation. With lower inflammation, the body is able to heal in a more effective manner. Get small manageable goals. An article from Associated Orthopedics of Detroit says that setting small, achievable goals is a great way to keep motivated and track progress during recovery. It helps maintain a sense of accomplishment, which is important for staying positive and committed to the recovery process. Each small victory builds confidence and therefore will help to keep sight on our long-term goals. Stay connected. The same article also talks about staying connected with friends and family is important during recovery because it provides necessary emotional support. Social interaction can help you feel less isolated, which is important for mental health and recovery. Next slide. Mindfulness and relaxation. Practices like meditation, deep breathing, and yoga give you relaxation and can notably reduce stress levels. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Hypertension found that regular practice of deep breathing reduced blood pressure and stress hormone levels, indicating a decrease in overall stress. Also, another research from Harvard Medical School found that mindfulness meditation can help ease psychological stresses like anxiety, depression, and pain. Journaling. Journaling is a powerful way for managing emotional health. You can write down your thoughts, feelings, and experiences regularly. By doing this, you can reflect on your experiences and notice patterns in your thoughts and behaviors. This can lead to greater self awareness and insights into how you cope with your recovery. A study published in the Journal of American Medical Association found that journaling for 15 to 20 minutes a day, 3 to 5 times over the course of a 4 month period, led to improvements in both physical and psychological health in patients. Next slide. Thank you all for listening today. We've talked about the physical and mental challenges youth athletes face and how important it is to address both. Remember, injuries don't just affect the body, but the mind as well. Don't hesitate to ask for help when you need it, and always support your teammates both on and off the field. Thanks again for your time and attention. Next slide. Here's some reference that we use for presentation.